All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into AI in the ER, and specifically we're going to be looking at Viz.ai. It's pretty amazing what they're doing. They're using algorithms and Microsoft's cloud to detect these life-threatening conditions, like strokes and pulmonary embolisms, and even aortic dissections, sometimes even faster than human doctors.
Yeah, it's true. And with those conditions, especially something like a stroke, time is of the essence. Every single minute matters because brain tissue is lost with each passing moment. So faster diagnosis and treatment means a much better chance of recovery for the patient.
Right. And so how does this AI even work? Like, is it replacing radiologists or?
Not at all. It's really working more alongside them. Think of it as like a tireless assistant that's incredibly sharp, always on. So Viz.ai is really a three-step process. It starts with AI triage. So the algorithms analyze CT scans and MRIs looking for any signs of trouble, things like blood clots. And then if something critical is found, the AI sends out alerts to specialists' phones so they can take immediate action.
Wow, so it's like a 2047 backup system making sure nothing slips through the cracks.
Exactly. And that third step, care coordination, is where things are really interesting. Viz.ai creates this virtual war room, so to speak, where the entire medical team can actually collaborate, in real time. They can share images, discuss treatment plans, and make sure that everyone's on the same page, and it happens instantly.
So no more running down the hallway like trying to get a hold of somebody.
That's the idea. It streamlines the communication and ensures that everyone has the same information, which is critical in those high-pressure emergency situations.
It's really fascinating how this AI is being used, not just in, big city hospitals, but also in rural areas.
Yeah, one of the most exciting aspects is its ability to actually bridge those expertise gaps, particularly in rural hospitals where you might not have those specialized doctors around the clock. Imagine a small remote hospital, and suddenly they've got a top neurologist on call, virtually all thanks to this technology.
It's incredible. And they're not just using it in emergencies. Researchers are using Viz.ai to track patient outcomes across, thousands of hospitals. Are we talking about a revolution in healthcare here?
We very well could be, but it's not just the tech itself, it's about that real-world impact. And the results coming out of the studies using Viz.ai are pretty impressive. For example, in 2024, a large-scale study showed a dramatic 52% reduction in the time it takes to get stroke patients from walking in the door to receiving treatment.
52%.
Yes, 52%.
That's mind-blowing. Think about what that means for their chances of recovery. But what about some real-world examples? Have there been cases where Viz.ai really made a crucial difference?
Absolutely. There was a case in Texas where Viz.ai identified a rare and dangerous type of stroke. It's called a basilar artery occlusion. And the initial scan was misread, but Viz.ai flagged it, the AI flagged it, and alerted the specialists. And so they were able to immediately consult with a neurosurgeon.
So the AI essentially saved this patient from what could have been a devastating outcome.
Potentially, yes. That case really highlights the potential of AI to act as a safety net, catching things that might be missed, even by experienced doctors, especially in those early moments when time is critical.
Yeah.
But of course, as with any powerful technology, especially in healthcare, there are important questions and controversies that we need to address.
Yeah, it can't all be sunshine and roses, right? I imagine there are concerns about over-reliance on AI. Like what about data privacy issues? And, we've heard all this stuff about potential bias being built into these algorithms.
You're hitting all the right points. Those are definitely things we need to delve into a bit deeper. For example, what happens if junior doctors become too dependent on the AI and they start missing crucial details that the AI isn't necessarily programmed to catch?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. And then we also have to consider the implications of, all this sensitive patient data being processed through the cloud. How can we even be sure that it's being handled responsibly and securely?
Those are critical questions, and, we're going to unpack all of those concerns. Right after a short break, we'll be back to explore the controversies surrounding AI diagnostics in more depth, so stay with us.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's true. With all this incredible potential of AI in healthcare, there are some legitimate concerns that we need to consider carefully. You mentioned that risk of over-reliance, and I find what's particularly interesting is the potential impact on training, like the development of expertise.
You're saying if doctors become too dependent on AI, they might not develop the same level of, critical thinking skills or diagnostic skills.
That's exactly the concern that some experts are raising. It's kind of like relying too heavily on a GPS, You might stop paying attention to the landmarks, and then eventually you lose your sense of direction. And in medicine, that could be really serious, like missing subtle cues that the AI just isn't programmed to pick up on.
So finding that balance between human expertise and AI assistance is crucial. But what about this whole issue of data privacy? I mean, we're talking about sensitive medical information and, going through the cloud. So how can we be sure that this data is even protected?
Well, that's where these regulations like HIPAA come in. HIPAA sets these really strict standards for protecting patient health information. And any company that handles this data, including Viz.ai, they're required to comply. They have to implement those security measures, safeguard the data, ensure its confidentiality.
So it sounds like there are multiple layers of protection in place. But with any new technology, there's always going to be that learning curve and a need to adapt. So it's like, what are some of the challenges that healthcare providers are facing when they try to integrate AI into their workflows?
Well, one challenge is just simply getting comfortable with the technology itself and really understanding its capabilities and limitations because it's a big shift in mindset for a lot of doctors. They're used to making decisions based on their own knowledge and their experience. There's also this issue of interoperability, making sure that the AI systems can actually integrate seamlessly with existing hospital systems, like the electronic health records.
Yeah, making sure those systems can actually talk to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, like share information. But aside from those, technical hurdles, there's also, of course, the human element to consider. So how are doctors and nurses reacting to this, to having AI now as part of their team?
I'd say it's a real range of reactions, from excitement to apprehension, to be honest. Some people, they really embrace the technology. They see it as a valuable tool, something that can really enhance their capabilities. But then you have others who are, worried about being replaced or just losing control.
Losing autonomy.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to remember that AI is not intended to replace human doctors. It's meant to augment their skills and to help them make even better decisions.
It's about finding that synergy.
Right, exactly.
Combining the best of human intuition and experience with, the power of AI to analyze all this data
Right.
and spot patterns that we as humans might miss. But, let's be honest. The idea of AI making life or death decisions in healthcare, it can feel, for some people, a little unsettling.
Yeah, I understand that feeling completely. It's completely natural to hesitate, when we're talking about algorithms potentially influencing those critical medical decisions. But I think if we take a step back and we look at it objectively, AI is already a part of our lives in so many ways. Often we don't even realize it. And when it comes to healthcare, the potential benefits, I think, are really enormous.
You're right. I mean, we've seen what Viz.ai is already doing in the ER, speeding up diagnoses and potentially even saving lives. But looking beyond Viz.ai, what other possibilities do you see for AI in healthcare? Where do you think this is all headed in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, the possibilities, I think, are truly exciting. I see a future where AI isn't just reacting to emergencies, but is actually predicting and preventing those diseases before they even develop.
Really?
Yeah. Imagine personalized health plans that are based on your genetic predisposition, your lifestyle choices, all tailored to help you stay healthy throughout your life.
So AI is like our own personal health guardian, constantly monitoring our well-being, nudging us toward healthier choices.
Exactly, yeah. And it's not as far-fetched as it might sound. I mean, look around. We already have these wearable sensors that are tracking our activity levels, our sleep patterns, our blood sugar in real time. So combine that data with AI-powered analytics, we can start to identify those early warning signs and intervene before it's too late.
It's amazing to think about the potential impact on, public health and longevity. But wouldn't that require like a massive amount of data and computing power?
It absolutely would. And that's where, cloud computing comes in. Platforms like, Microsoft's Azure, they provide that infrastructure and the processing power needed to handle those vast amounts of data securely and efficiently. And that's what makes applications like Viz.ai possible and will continue to drive that innovation in AI for healthcare.
So the cloud isn't just a storage space, it's the engine behind all these powerful AI tools. But as we go deeper into this world of personalized medicine and predictive analytics, we also have to consider, the ethical implications. Like, how do we even ensure that these technologies are used responsibly, that they don't create new inequalities?
That's a crucial point. As with any powerful technology, there's always going to be that risk of misuse or those unintended consequences. We need to be mindful of potential biases that can creep into the algorithms. We have to protect patient privacy and ensure that there's equitable access to these advancements.
It's such a delicate balancing act, trying to harness the power of AI for good, while also safeguarding against those potential pitfalls. So this brings us to like the million-dollar question. What role do you envision AI playing in the future of healthcare? What's your crystal ball prediction?
Well, I believe AI has the potential to completely revolutionize healthcare in ways that we can only just begin to imagine. It's not just about, improving efficiency or accuracy. It's about fundamentally transforming how we approach health and well-being.
We're talking about a paradigm shift, not just incremental improvements.
Exactly. I see a future where healthcare is much more proactive. It's personalized, it's accessible than ever before. AI will empower us to understand our own health better, to make those informed decisions, and to really take control of our own well-being.
So we're not just patient, we're active participants in our own healthcare journey.
Exactly.
That's an incredibly empowering thought. But how do we get there? What are the key steps that we need to take to realize this vision of AI-powered healthcare?
That's a great question, and one that I think we need to delve into a bit deeper. So, why don't we explore that path forward for AI in healthcare after a quick break? We'll be right back to discuss what we can expect in the coming years, so stay tuned.
We've been talking about the incredible potential, right, for AI to revolutionize healthcare, but we've also kind of touched on, those potential pitfalls and the need to tread carefully as we move forward.
Absolutely. We can't just assume that technology by itself is going to solve all our healthcare challenges, right? There are those ethical considerations, those practical hurdles, and just a lot of work to do to ensure that these advancements actually benefit everybody.
So where do we go from here? What are those key steps we need to take to make this vision of this AI-powered future for healthcare a reality, while also, keeping those concerns in mind?
Well, I think one of the most important steps is, really fostering collaboration between the technologists, the healthcare providers, and of course the policymakers. We need to break down those silos and create a shared understanding of the opportunities and challenges.
So bring everyone to the table, right? The people developing the AI, the doctors and nurses who are actually using it, and then the people who are, setting those rules and regulations.
Exactly. We need open dialogue and just a willingness to learn from each other. Doctors need to be involved in the design and testing of these AI tools, right? To make sure that they're practical and that they're addressing real-world clinical needs. And technologists need to understand the complexities of that healthcare system and those ethical considerations that are involved.
Yeah, it's about bridging that gap, right, between the tech world and the world of medicine, making sure everyone's speaking the same language.
Exactly. And policymakers need to create a regulatory framework that, encourages innovation while also safeguarding patient safety and privacy. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's so crucial to get it right.
It sounds like it's not just about, developing the technology. It's about creating this whole ecosystem that actually supports its responsible integration into healthcare.
You got it. We need to invest in education and training for healthcare professionals so they're comfortable using those AI tools and can, critically interpret the results. And then we need to build public trust by being really transparent about how these technologies work and addressing those concerns about, data privacy and potential biases.
Right. It's about making sure that AI is being used to actually empower both patients and healthcare providers, not to replace or diminish human judgment and expertise.
Absolutely. And it's also important to remember that technology is only part of the solution, right? We still need to address those underlying social and economic factors that contribute to health disparities. AI can be such a powerful tool for improving access to care and reducing inequalities, but it can't do it alone.
So it's about using AI as a force for good
Yes.
to level the playing field, right? And to create a more equitable and accessible healthcare system for everyone.
That's the ultimate goal, and I really believe that it's achievable if we work together and approach these advancements with a sense of shared responsibility and a commitment to ethical principles.
It has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into, Viz.ai and just those broader implications of AIs in healthcare. And I think it's clear that we're on the cusp of something really big here. It's exciting, but also a bit daunting.
It's a time of tremendous opportunity, but also, like you said, it demands careful consideration and a willingness to navigate those complex ethical and practical challenges that come with any disruptive technology.
It's a journey we're all on together, and I think it's one that's really going to shape the future of healthcare for generations to come. So thanks for joining us on this exploration of AI's potential to transform the way we diagnose, treat, and ultimately understand health and well-being.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you, and I'm really hopeful that by embracing these advancements responsibly and thoughtfully, we can create a future where healthcare is more effective, accessible, and equitable for everyone.
And that's a future worth striving for. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the ever-evolving world of AI and its impact on our lives.